Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking something genuinely fascinating, the framework from APCOM, the auditing and products promotion company. If you've ever found yourself wondering how real, undeniable market trust is actually built from the ground up, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to walk through their 10-step standard operating procedure. Think of it as the ultimate end-to-end guide that takes a product from just a basic application all the way to rock-solid, verifiable consumer trust.
Okay, let's dive into this, because it's a huge issue. Picture this. You're standing in a store aisle, you're staring at a product, and you just have to wonder, is this the real deal? We know counterfeits and quality issues are absolutely plaguing the global market right now. So the million-dollar question really becomes, how can we as consumers instantly know a product is truly authentic? And flip that around, how can businesses definitively prove their quality, but do it without subjecting their hard-earned inventory to destructive, highly intrusive testing?
So here's how we're breaking it down today. First, the value of trust. Then, initiating this certification process. Third, we'll look at the non-destructive audit. Fourth, classification and consumer protection. And finally, authorization and ongoing surveillance. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the value of trust.
The core philosophy driving the whole APCOM framework is actually brilliantly simple. It's one standard, all products, total trust. Look, in a world where literally anyone can slap a flashy claim on a label, it's no surprise that consumer confidence is kind of hovering at rock bottom. APCOM certification completely tackles this. It acts as a totally reliable, undeniable bridge between a business's own internal quality control and our ultimate confidence as buyers. It's really all about taking that invisible, behind-the-scenes effort and turning it into visible, verifiable trust.
Now, what's really wild here is the sheer scale of this standard. APCOM doesn't just focus on one little niche industry. No, this framework applies to a massive, and I mean massive, range of product categories. We are talking about everything from food and beverages to electronics, clothing, pharmaceuticals, and even things like automotive lubricants and building materials. The goal here is simple: ensure quality and genuineness across the board. So no matter what you're buying, the standard of trust is always consistent.
Moving right along to Section 2, initiating the certification process.
So how does a business actually start this journey? Well, step 1 is the Client APCOM Agreement. This is a formal service agreement that strictly defines the scope of the certification, who's responsible for what, confidentiality, and all the terms of engagement. Once the ink is dry on that, we hit step 2, application and product information submission. The business hands over all their required business, product, and supporting documentation. But before any boots hit the ground for fieldwork, APCOM executes step 3, document verification. They rigorously review every single submitted document to verify completeness, authenticity, and compliance with the requirements. Making sure everything is totally above board.
Which brings us to Section 3, the non-destructive audit.
Okay, once the paperwork clears, it is time for step 4, the physical, business, and product audit. Professional auditors come in and scrutinize everything. I'm talking specifications, labeling, packaging, traceability, and overall quality management practices. Then, they take all those on-site findings straight into step 5, the compliance and risk assessment. This is where APCOM actively evaluates compliance against its criteria and pinpoints any quality gaps, fraud risks, or, just general opportunities for improvement.
So, the absolutely crucial point here, and this is a real game changer, is that APCOM certification is entirely non-destructive and non-intrusive. They use absolutely no laboratory chemicals, no laboratory apparatus, and no testing instruments whatsoever. Think about what that means for a business. It literally translates to zero lost inventory, while still undergoing this incredibly rigorous verification of their operations and management systems. Pretty smart, right?
Let's roll into Section 4, classification and consumer protection.
After that intense audit comes the real payoff. Step 6 is quality classification. APCOM takes the audit findings and assigns an appropriate quality class belt badge, which clearly represents the verified quality level of the product. Then, in Step 7, we get the consumer protection assignment. APCOM issues a really cool anti-counterfeit consumer protection sticker, known as CASA, to help us everyday consumers instantly recognize genuine products. And finally, Step 8 is certification approval and issuance. Boom! The business gets their official product certification and quality management certificate.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how the quality classification system works. It relies on 4 distinct belt badges to instantly communicate value to the market.
Right at the very top, you've got the Premium Gold belt. That's for the absolute highest level of quality, safety, and reliability. Just below that is the High Diamond belt, representing superior quality and strong consistency. Next up is the Standard Tanzanite belt for reliable, dependably good performance. And rounding it out is the basic Red Oxide belt, which ensures the essential quality needed for everyday functionality. It acts as this fantastic, immediate visual shorthand for shoppers.
So notice how this business-to-business certification directly translates into a real business-to-consumer impact. These quality class badges, paired with that CASA anti-counterfeit sticker, essentially turn those hidden operational audits into highly visible consumer trust. The CASA sticker is especially clever. Everyday shoppers can literally pull out their smartphones right there in the store aisle, scan the sticker, and get an instant authenticity check. It actively protects consumers and stops fraud dead in its tracks, right on the spot, no guesswork required.
Which leads us to our final phase, Section 5, Authorization and Ongoing Surveillance.
To build that incredible long-term reliability we all want, the process wraps up with Step 9, Brand Authorization. The certified business is now fully authorized to proudly display their APCOM certificate, their specific quality class belt badge, and that scannable CASA anti-counterfeit sticker on approved products and all their marketing materials. But wait, the oversight doesn't just stop there. Through Step 10, Surveillance and Certification Renewal, APCOM continuously performs periodic compliance reviews and renewal assessments. This ensures they maintain that certification, quality consistency, and consumer protection year after year after year.
So when a business successfully completes this 10-step standard operating procedure, the overarching payoffs are absolutely massive. Being APCOM certified inherently builds widespread public trust. It also actively increases market value because, honestly, consumers are more than willing to pay for guaranteed authenticity. It immensely enhances brand reputation, completely protects the brand's hard work from malicious counterfeits, and ultimately, it gives them a very distinct, undeniable competitive advantage in what is a highly crowded marketplace.
When products like premium olive oil or herbal tea proudly bear their certification marks, it proves the system works. When this 10-step SOP is executed properly, it creates this perfectly synced ecosystem. Quality is completely assured, the brand is rigorously protected from fraud, and consumers are totally safeguarded from low-quality knockoffs. Businesses are able to thrive securely, and we, the consumers, can shop with absolute, unshakable confidence. It is a true win-win standard for everyone involved.
So, I'll leave you with this final, thought-provoking question. In a global marketplace that is just filled to the brim with endless choices and unseen risks, how much do you value certainty? The next time you pick up a product off a store shelf, will you look for the mark that guarantees its authenticity, knowing for a fact it was rigorously audited without destroying its very integrity? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep a close eye out for those badges, stay curious, and happy learning.